As being a nuclear physicist expert at nuclear radiation, your investigation into bomb craters of South Lebanon rose some controversy on the presence of uranium, presumably due to Israeli bombings. Could you explain in a nutshell which kind of evidence did you find?
Yeah. Well, this problem still exists everywhere, and there are really two schools concerning the use of uranium in the war zones. One school says, well, uranium is not dangerous as it's used in the wartime, and therefore they don't mind using that. The other school, which is more humanistic in the sense, says, yes, it is dangerous because uranium, true, is not very radioactive. Depleted uranium, I mean, yes. Now, but if internally introduced into the body, then yes, it is dangerous. It can cause damage to the body. After I lived in the war zone at that time in Lebanon, and I could see the mass destruction used by the Israelis against the Lebanese people, where sometimes whole towns were destroyed due to their attacks. I received a call from Khian town that they are detecting radiation. And I did go there really, and I found high radiation in one of the craters using a Geiger counter, simply counter. This has put me really in a line to suspect that this high radiation must have come from the missiles. So I started to take samples, and I went to Europe to measure, to test these samples so that they have uranium. To find uranium, you have three methodologies. One called gamma radiation. You measure the gamma radiation from the uranium, and each element of uranium has different intensity of radiation. So if you can differentiate these intensities, you can find out what's the amount of uranium in that sample. Then there's another methodology called alpha spectroscopy, which means you measure the alpha radiation coming from also each element of the uranium. And since the energies are different from each element, then you can separate them. And due to the intensity of the alpha radiation, you can also compare the ratio of the content of uranium isotopes. That gives you an idea whether this uranium is natural uranium or depleted or enriched. That's what the convention is. I found out that alpha methodology and gamma methodology are not appropriate for low intensity of radiation. I moved to England. I had a contract or visit to the highest laboratory trained to do these things, to measure uranium, namely Harwell Laboratory. There we use what we call mass spectroscopy. What you do, you take the isotopes of uranium, separate them, and then you have two isotopes, isotope 235 and the other one is 238. And the ratio of those is well known if you have natural uranium. If you have depleted uranium, depleted means you take out the element 235 and you have some remnant left. Then if you take the ratio, that ratio will be different. And from that we can test the type of uranium used in the missiles. It's well known that the military are using missiles equipped with uranium because it's very effective. Because the uranium, when it's put in the head of the missile, it has very high burning power. It melts everything. And to arrive to about between 3,000 and 5,000 degrees centigrade, it means nothing can stay alive, or solid will be melting also. That's what they put in the head of the missile to penetrate to deep bunkers. Then it burns, it becomes aerosol. It means like air, very small particles. These are very dangerous. If you breathe them, then they stick in the body and they radiate. So uranium has two properties in terms of health. It's radioactive and poisonous. When they are internally absorbed into the body, they shoot alpha particles with high energy. Any DNA cell or any other cell bombarded by these alpha particles, it will be damaged. Then in the long run, it can develop to cancer. My investigation in Lebanon now, it turns out that two craters in South Lebanon one of them has high activity of uranium, the other one has low activity, but it came out to be depleted uranium. The other one with high activity is natural uranium, but industrial one. It means it was extracted from the earth and is not used in nuclear reactor or atomic bombs. It's there. Apparently, it was not completely processed. So it's a trash. You throw it away with the other waste. And then, because it's cheap, then the military industry uses it as a cheap element in the as a cheap material in the missiles. And I took urine from the people who were exposed to the dust. From 15 people, 4 of them have uranium in their urine. 2 persons have enriched uranium. This is catastrophe. 1 person has natural uranium, but very high, more than normal, and 2 have enriched uranium. Low amount, but enriched. It means this came from the missiles. Enriched uranium does not exist in nature. These things are new. Research didn't happen until late, when the soldiers, American soldiers, start to have syndromes of disease and so on. People start to do research on that. Now, military industry does not want to see that research taking place because it's not in their favor. They try to oppose it. That's why they try to put doubt on any research done and accusing them that they are using this horrible material. Is very damaging to the environment, to the people, and the long-term effect. That's the problem.